Someone asked me the question, if Baba Ramadev will become the Prime Minister of India. It's not my intention to get into politics. I'm interested in this question purely from the standpoint view of astrology. I have only one agenda, and that agenda is to present astrology, particularly Vedic astrology, as a science. So looking at what is happening on the Prasna Chart, because we don't have the birth chart of Ramadev. The Prasna Chart on June 4th, when he started the fast, is very significant. And Prasna Chart, for all practical purposes, is as good as the native chart. So looking at the chart, and the Prasna lagna is Libra, and the 10th house lord is Moon, and Moon is in the 9th house, which is the 12th from Cancer, and then he is with Rahu. So what this means is, because I don't want to be too technical, because I'm talking to common people. So looking at the horoscope, the Prasna horoscope, it is very unlikely that he will become a Prime Minister, because the 10th house lord is with Rahu and aspected by Ketu, which is a very bad situation. And also his sun is in the 8th house, in Taurus. So that rules out again any possibility of becoming a ruler. The worst scenario is Saturn is in Virgo, which is the 12th house for the lagna, which is the lord of the lagna is in the 12th house, which is really a bad aspect. And apparently the 12th house Saturn has created this health problem that he's going through, that he came to a place that he was admitted to the emergency and his blood pressure went down and the heart was facing a problem. All this is because of the life-threatening situation created by Saturn in the 12th house. So it is very unlikely for him to become the Prime Minister. So he will be better off that he keeps doing what he has been doing. But even here there are certain things that we have to look at. And it is a moment of personal reflection for me too, to look at the reality. He runs the Patanjali Yoga Sutra Institute, Patanjali Institute. And I teach this Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, particularly the Vibhuti Pada. And I know the limitations that I have, but I am only interested in the theories of it, and then, but to convert it into practice, it's very time-consuming, although it is theoretically sound, and it's possible to get the siddhi powers, provided one puts the time into it, and then also the grace. The grace is very important. Although Patanjali himself is more atheistic than theistic, his theism is not the theism of the bhaktas, because he's more like intellectual kind of. So, so he says, for instance, in one of the sutras, how you can control your thirst and hunger. Kantakupe kshut pipasa nivritti. You have to do a samyama on this sutra. Kantakupe kshut pipasa nivritti. What does that mean? It means if you do samyama, samyama is a special meditation which combines dharana, dhyan, samadhi. Dharana is concentration, and dhyan is a more subtle level of concentration without the object, and samadhi is a much higher level where it is arthamatra, sunya swarupam, eva samadhi. That is the highest state, and then you combine all the three in one meditation that is called samyama. So if you do the samyama on the kurma, on the kantakupe kshut pipasa nivritti, you will be able to control your thirst and hunger and live without the need for it. So we have to ask ourselves, and if Patanjali is lying, no, it's not lying. But then we are not able to get to that level because we have to identify the subtle body and its relationship with the physical body, and it all takes time to do that. And then the next sutra is also very important, where he talks about the kurmanatyam stairyam. Then you become completely, in control of the body and the mind. It's very difficult, One thing that I think it's my responsibility in this lifetime is to be practical. Even when you approach a scripture and then see if it is really worthwhile pursuing this path. Constantly everyone should examine the path. That's why I like Thiruvalluvar the most of all the siddhas, because he says, don't worry about who says what. You just go and examine if there is truth in it. That is the way to grow. He said, Echorul, Epporul yar yar vai ketpinum, Apporul meipporul ganbadu arivu. What is intelligence? Is just go and examine. Just because Bhagavad Gita has said that, just don't, or the Ayurveda says this, don't accept it. Okay, that is my standpoint at this point. Because there has been a lot of predictions from the Nadi about my own life as Avatar or Shiva Avatar and Ramalinga Avatar, and I take them with a pinch of salt, although there was a time that I was so excited about that, but now I begin to question my own avatar as Ramalingam. So I don't want to, bring down their name and fame, and then I have great respect for them. But then even with Ramalingam's case, his body became very, very weak because he was not eating for a long time. He was able to turn his body into light. That was a great thing. That I have no doubt about that. But then, what happened to the body? The body was going really very, very weak. And Velayuda Madaliyar, which his number one disciple, says that he was skin and bone during just prior to his body turning into light. I was just visiting a person who is very devoted to Babaji. Babaji is the Mahavatar, as he is called, who turned his body into light. And he was the guru of Lahiri Mahasaya, and then if you want more information, it is on the book called The Dharma Biography of a Yogi, where there is a description of who Babaji is, and he appears now even even today in his light body. And I was advising a person who is very devoted to Babaji, and I saw his health going down, and I have to advise him, look, there is a danger here about following a person who is teaching about the light body. The light body, if you focus all your attention on the light body, you will get it. And then if you make it very, as the goal of your life, but then it is only at the expense of this physical body. You cannot have them both. Some people were able to get it, but according to this tradition, there is either this or that. So you have to be careful. So his body was going down. Because the intent was only on the light body, which is only an astral body. So, Rajnikant, the superstar, is also devoted to Babaji, the Mahavatar. I think his physical problem may well have been, which really developed out of the blue, is because his lack of interest or loss of interest in the physical body. And then when you lose interest in the physical body will die. So you have to have really a very educated approach to whatever philosophy you are following. And that is very important. Up until now, for a quarter of a century or more, I have been teaching only in the West, in US mostly, Canada a little bit, and also in Europe. But now I have been pulled to come to India and then teach. So beginning from the fall, which is September, I will be teaching in India because I've been doing some charity work there, but I will want to teach more in India, at least for the next 2 years or so. So it's very important to look at everything and analyze it, and then not just be carried away by statements which cannot be proved. Again, to come back to religion and politics, it's my opinion that they have to be kept separate. Otherwise, it will become messy. And after all, to be a guru, according to the Krishna tradition, I was reading Prabhupada, Bhakti Vedanta, the guy who started the Hare Krishna movement. And he quotes Krishna saying that, which is very, very relevant, because he's an authority on Bhagavad Gita as well as the Bhagavatam. He says only a failed yogi becomes a rich man or a ruler. Okay, if somebody becomes a politician or a king or a prime minister, it's not that he did not do meditation. He did meditation, but he was not able to go up to the level to be a full-time yogi and then have all the siddhi powers. So he compromised, and the compromise, but still, because he did yoga for a long time, he has to be compensated. How would he be compensated? He becomes an aristocrat or a very rich man or a prime minister or a president. So that is still a lower place. So by keeping that in mind, we have to see where do we stand, where politics stands, where spirituality stands. It's really spirituality, and the spiritual life is certainly better than the material mundane life. And that's why even Einstein said that where science ends, there religion begins. So religion is certainly higher, but at the same time you should not say that religion is the highest and then you should forget about science, because he said also very, very clearly that science without religion is lame, and religion without science is blind. So you should not be, what we happen in India is mostly a blind faith without proper analysis of what is happening. So that is a wrong approach too. So science needs religion and religion needs science. Both of them have to come together. Just you don't accept anything unless you test and verify. And this I have been able to do in my study and research of astrology. That's one of the reasons why I started the AstroVed, because Vedic astrology can stand that rigorous test of modern materialistic science. So you can exactly predict what is really going to happen. Whether this planet will help you to become successful or that planet will pull you down. All these things can be studied very scientifically. And even an hour can be tracked down, because the Hora watch, a program that we have developed for the iPhone, and I want to make it available to other applications as well. When every hour changes, the energy changes also, because every hour is ruled by a planet. So it's extremely profitable for everyone to go and look at these things and be benefited by it. And then the bottom line is you have to be very scientific in your approach to verify whether or not it works. And if it doesn't work, then you just should not be using it. This is how we as a race can progress. Until it works, it is not useful. Just because tradition has it and then we have to follow that, and then everyone becomes just a mediocre and a victim to the tradition. So that is not a proper approach. The proper approach is just study it well. You cannot just only go halfway through and then trash it and then say this doesn't work. So I do believe that Patanjali, when he says that you can control your thirst and hunger, kanta, kupe, kshut, pipasa and nivritti will work. But then you have to understand the whole dynamics of how the samyama works. The third step of the samyama, which is swarupa sunyam, arthamatra swarupa sunyam. How can you get to that level? That means you have to take the ego out, you have to take the mind out of the concentration, and then allow only the object to exist, arthamatra, only the object exists. This is a kind of discipline that one needs to go to that level. When you are able to put together all these things, then you can say that the kanta, kupe, kshut, pipasa and nivritti will work, and then you can challenge the doctors. No, I'm not going to be affected neither by thirst nor by hunger. So this is something that everyone has to ask oneself, that whether a particular thing is practical or it is not practical. Whether it is medicine, whether it is science or politics, all these things have to be considered in a very practical way.